Good evening, everyone. This evening, I'll be doing a brief overview of elimination or excretion. Now, in every area of natural health, you will hear mention of the 8 laws of health. And you will realize that in this area as well, excretion or elimination, all of them are also important. Now, just to remind you of those 8 laws of health, I'm going to be using the mnemonic New Start. Nutrition, exercise, water, sunshine or sunlight, temperance or self-control, air, rest, and the most important one, trust in God. Now, first of all, let me define elimination or excretion as it has to do with the body. This refers to how the body gets rid of its waste. It gets rid of toxins which result from the chemical processes which takes place in the body. And this is of vital importance because the retention of waste can spell trouble. And when we do not get rid of the waste as we should, those toxins remain in the body and cause the internal organs extra work. They are an extra burden to them. And there are times when they are reabsorbed into the bloodstream, and serious illnesses can result. In fact, they can even lead to serious illnesses like cancer. So it is important that we understand the process of elimination, the channels through which it takes place, and how we can help our bodies eliminate all the waste. Now, our bodies have various channels of elimination. I'll only be talking about a few. Those organs that I'll be speaking about are the lungs, the colon, the kidneys, and the skin. I will just take a brief look at each. The lungs. Now, respiration takes place here in the lungs. We breathe in air, and as we breathe in the air, the lungs extract the oxygen that the body needs and expel the carbon dioxide, which could be poisonous if it stays. And therefore, we need to learn how to breathe properly. Many of us breathe too shallow, and we need to practice deep breathing. Now, when you breathe, the air is to go into the lungs. And a good breath means that this part of your body expands. You breathe in and out. And when you do that a few times, your body will thank you for the fresh air that has gone in and for the extra stale air that has been expelled. Now, we must practice this deep breathing because it doesn't always come automatically. We've been practiced to breathe just normally in a shallow way. So you know what helps? Exercise. That's one of the rules of one of the natural rules. So whether you walk, you ride, you jog, you swim, play a game, whatever exercise you do, you cannot help but breathe deeply when you have done a good bit of it, depending, of course, on your fitness. And then the deep breathing comes naturally because you are panting and you breathe in and out so often that your body gets quite a bit of oxygen at that time. So exercise. And a good time to exercise and to take these deep breaths would be early in the morning before too much activity is taking place. Breathe in the fresh air. And we are lucky here in Barbados because we are surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean and we can get the fresh breezes coming in. Let's make use of them. Now, the servant of the Lord, Ellen White, says in the Ministry of Healing, page 292, she's advising that we wear clothes that are loosely fitting, not the tight clothes stuck onto us, because, as she says, tight-fitting clothing restrict the chest and the lungs, and there's not enough room to expand so you can take a full inspiration of air. And you know what happens? When you do not take a full inspiration of air, you are depriving your body of oxygen. You are taking in less oxygen. And then you cannot breathe out as you would like. You are leaving some carbon dioxide inside as well. So wear clothes that are loosely fitting. Your body will thank you for it. Another organ that we can talk about, there are two of them, the kidneys. Now, our Heavenly Father is so gracious. He gave us not one, but two kidneys. Same for the lungs. He gave us two. And we have learned that we can just as comfortably live with one of each of those organs than with the two of them. And yet, look what has happened down through the ages. People have lived in such a way, and humanity has been so degraded that some people have come to the point of losing all the function of both of those organs. And then sadly, some of them have to be helped in terms of the elimination of the toxins from the body through a process called dialysis. We who still have the use of our kidneys, let's take good care of them. They filter the toxins from the blood, and we should drink lots and lots of water to help them with their job. And as we do this, we will be able to make sure that we are doing our part and keeping them in good working order. Take care, too, of the amount of salt you may be taking in. So be very careful with your diet so you can take good care of your kidneys. And to know when your kidneys are working really well, when you urinate and you see that pale color, be thankful. If you see it getting too yellow, start drinking your water. You are missing out. So make sure you do those things to take care of the kidneys. Another organ of elimination, the colon. Now, just now we had the kidneys, which excrete liquid waste. The colon now deals with the solid waste. And we call the process defecation when we go to the bathroom. Now, to make this process smooth and easy, we have something to do. We must be careful to drink, again, lots of water. That is coming out all the time. And we are to eat foods that are high in fiber. And I think it would be great. I don't think we need an excuse to do this. You know why? If you have ever been constipated, you will know the discomfort that comes from it and the pain. And therefore, we need to do all we can to avoid such. And we are told, too, not only should we do it because of pain and discomfort, when that waste, that solid waste, is not expelled and it stays in the colon, some toxins are reabsorbed into the body. And you know what? Those cause serious illnesses as well. We must keep our colon clear because we don't want to come up with some of the serious illnesses like cancer and such like. So to help us in this area, God again has provided, because he provides for all our needs. Lots of water, as was mentioned before. The fiber-rich foods, yes, fiber-rich foods. Fruits, you know, fruits like mangoes, papaws, soursop, bananas. Oh, those lovely fruits are full of fiber, and they can be of great value in terms of clearing the passageway in the colon. Other dried fruits like prunes and dates, those are great. Grains like chia seeds, oh, those are lovely. They help add up to the bulk, and the stool moves along easily. Also, the green leafy vegetables. Green leafy vegetables like the kale, the spinach, the cabbage leaves. The cabbage, the whole of the cabbage is good, but also those green leaves that I notice sometimes farmers leave in the ground. Those green leaves are great. So those are great sources of fiber. Oats and corn, all of those. Eat some of these every day. Oh, and I forgot one, lettuce. Eat some of these every day. And I am sure if you include those in your diet and you drink lots of water, from the time you wake up in the morning, you are ready to do that first work. That is defecating before you start putting in again, and it will be easy. What also helps is exercise. Exercise also contributes to a good bowel movement. So do all of those things and do your bodies a favor. And the last organ we'll talk about for today is the largest organ of the body. You know what that organ is? The skin. And the skin is also the largest organ of elimination. Yes, that is important. The skin doesn't only act as a covering for the body, it doesn't only act as a temperature controller, but it's also a means of elimination. Here again, I'm going to quote Ellen G. White in Ministry of Healing, page 276. And it says, impurities are constantly thrown off from the body through the skin. And I'm sure she wrote this long before scientists recognized these things. So yes, they are constantly thrown off the body, from the body through the skin. It's millions of pores. Those little holes in the skin are quickly clogged unless kept clean by frequent bathing. Yes, there was a time back in history that people didn't know they needed to bathe regularly, so she had to try and enlighten them. But of course, that doesn't happen these days, hopefully. A regular bath, not just one, but here in the tropics, we need at least 2 baths a day, in the morning and in the evening, maybe more if you want to. But regular baths helps to unclog those pores. And it also helps in the health of the skin in a different way. You see, when you are bathing, you rub your skin. And in rubbing the skin, you are increasing the circulation of the body. And when I say increasing the circulation, The rubbing causes the blood vessels to expand and come closer to the surface of the skin, so that it means as that blood flows closer to the surface, that blood is also bringing nutrients, and it's also bringing oxygen, and then your skin can have that healthy glow. So, a good bath, and not necessarily in warm water. I know we love warm water, but cold water is great for circulation. So a good cold bath, and believe you me, in Barbados, we don't really get cold water. We are not like those people in those other countries where they have the very cold weather, that the water is really cold in truth. But in Barbados, our cold water isn't cold, so bathe in it. It's best for our health. And when you get a good bath, do not put back on the clothes you would have had on before. No, don't do that. You see, when the skin gives off the impurities, the clothes we are wearing absorb those impurities. So when you take off those clothes and you get a good bath, do not put them back on. Put them to be washed, to be made clean for the next wearing. We do not want our skin reabsorbing what it has already worked hard to put out. So do not put back on those clothes. Do not put back on those socks. They all need to be washed. Now, there is an age group in particular who love their looks. We all like our looks, but you see teenagers, oh, they love their looks. And they are told when they get to that age that they will suffer from acne because it is a part of puberty. But we are coming to realize that is not necessarily so. You see, teenagers are at the age where they want their tongues to guide their eating and drinking. So they eat what they like, they drink what they like, and when they like, and then they complain of the pimples in their faces. And then you know what is the second round they do? They go to the stores and they buy cosmetics and toiletries to cover them. Two evils, eating and drinking badly, and then covering up with cosmetics and toiletries to beautify themselves. They're going about it in the wrong way. All these things they tend to do is to clog up the pores some more, and it hinders the free breathing action of the skin. And the type of diets they usually like, those diets are usually lacking and depleted in many essential vitamins and minerals like potassium and magnesium and calcium and iron and such like. So they need to fix up their diets. And they will soon see that as they fix up what goes in, what is seen on the outside will look much more beautiful. So they are not there, along with us, we are not to let our tongues do the choosing. We are to be educated and choose aright. Now, 2 healing remedies for the skin. There are lots, but I've chosen 2 for today. Cleansing with lemon. Now, we do have the Barbadian lemon. There are not many trees around, but it would be great to increase the amount of trees. It's a great fruit to have around. Lemon cleanses the skin. And it doesn't only clean, how it cleans the skin, in fact, is that it inhibits or it stops the growth of bacteria. And because our skin is largely exposed, the bacteria can easily attach itself to the skin. Most of the times our arms are exposed, our legs, our faces and necks. So bacteria finds it easy to attach themselves to the skin. So the aim is to help the body's immune system to neutralize any toxin that might attach itself to the skin. That is why the lemon is one of the means that can be used. You see, the lemon has some actual oils which the skin needs. It has something called melanin, and then there are some other minerals, and these things can be easily absorbed through the pores. Now, when you are using the lemon, you can take a slice or use it like this, and you rub it on your skin. Rub, and rub it with some vigor. Rub it hard. Rub it as though you are doing a massage for someone. Rub it on. Rub that lemon in. And listen, do not do it once, bathe, and expect to see the difference. You know the story of Naaman. He thought when he did once or twice, he would have been healed. He had to persist and obey the servant of the Lord. So listen, I want you to try this lemon rub or lemon scrub, whichever you want to call it. Rub it in. It may take a few weeks, but do it daily. And you will notice the benefits, but you must be persistent, and God will bless you with a lovely complexion just from rubbing that lemon into your skin. And the other thing about lemon is an astringent. An astringent is something that binds and pulls together. So, you've guessed it right. The lemon will tighten the skin and firm it up. Witch hazel is something else that also does that. And you know what that means? Especially for the ladies, you will soon be losing sight of those wrinkles that you do not like to see. So you try the lemon scrub or the lemon rub. And finally, the salt glow. The salt glow. Simple things we have around our homes. We don't need to go in the store to buy things we do not know about. Use these simple remedies. The salt glow. Salt can be used to stimulate the skin and actually cause the pores to open up and release the toxins and the waste that might be trapped in them. Any other abrasive material can also be used. For example, some of you go to the beach pretty often. When you go in the water, then you come back and you sit on the sand. Well, don't just sit on the sand. While sitting on the sand, get some sand and start rubbing. Rub your feet. Scrub your legs all the way up. Scrub your hands, your arms, all around your neck. Scrub all over. Even scrub your face, but be a little gentle on the face with something as hard as sand. Don't be too hard on the face with sand. But rub those areas like your heels, your knees, your elbows, and all over the skin while you are there at the beach. In fact, when you do that and you go back into the water, you can immediately feel the smoothness. You can also use, so the salts you can use, Epsom salts and even table salt. Table salt, though, is a bit harsher because of how the crystals are shaped. Epsom salts is a little better. And you can do the scrub with those as well. And what causes the glow? When those pores open up and the circulation is near the skin, there's a certain sense of warmth and a tingly feeling. And then when you get that bath, you feel good. So, after you do these rubs, your skin actually does feel smooth. No, and it's relaxing too, especially when you use something like Epsom salts that has the magnesium that is known to relax the muscles. You can feel really good at the end of the day. And as some people say, the scrub also scrubs away the dead skin, which is actually the dead cells that you are scrubbing away. And a little mixture you can use. Get some Epsom salts, put a little coconut oil with it, and for a nice smell, some essential oil, maybe lavender oil or one of the others, and get a good mixture and give yourself a good rub. And you can do it before or after the bath. And in bathing, do not combat the good you have done by using all sorts of soaps with all sorts of ingredients in them, like the petroleum ingredients that are harmful. There are lots of natural soaps around these days, so find some, or find someone that makes them. You can get oatmeal soaps, you can get charcoal soap. Bentonite clay is another great one, and all sorts of the natural things people use in soaps. And for their coloring, they usually use natural things like turmeric and beet and so on. And then a cold shower after that scrub, and you feel so good at the end. One can also make use of skin brushing, bentonite clay as well. Sunshine, don't forget your sunshine. Do not forget your rest and your sleep at night. No. Another one is steaming. Steaming helps to clear the pores. You can boil some water, put it in a basin, steaming hot. You can, if you are doing just your face, okay. But you can even put it in the bath, take off all of your clothes, put a sheet around you, and just let the steam come upon you. That does a great job in clearing those pores. So that is also something that you can do. Because you see, when you steam and that perspiration starts pouring out, it helps to get rid of lots of toxins. And even in the water that you would have boiled, you can put a few drops of tea tree oil or those essential oils that are so good for you. So start taking care of your organs of elimination. But with all these, make sure God is your focus. Let him work for you, but use what he has provided, because he alone can heal us. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. This afternoon, we're going to be talking about cayenne pepper. Now, we're told that we should try to use as many of the natural remedies as possible. And especially in these days that we're living in, with so many sicknesses and diseases, and as we would have experienced and still is experiencing the effects of COVID, there are many medications that we might be unable to have at our disposal. And there are incidences where we might have emergencies. And cayenne, I have found to be one of the very, very good and important things that we should always have, whether we are traveling with it in a small container or whether we are at home. We should always keep cayenne pepper in our homes. Now, the name for cayenne is called, the official name is CAPSICUM frutescens. It's also called cayenne pepper, red pepper, Spanish pepper, bird pepper, African pepper, and African red pepper. It is a stimulant, a tonic, it's digestive, and there's so many things that cayenne pepper is used for. It is not an irritant like the black pepper or the other spices that are irritant to the stomach, but it works wonders. I have had many experiences with cayenne, and that's why today I can speak from experience with cayenne, because I've even been called the cayenne doctor, because it has worked tremendously for me. And I stand here not because I'm reading from a book, but because I've had experience with the cayenne. Now, cayenne is known to help in lowering a person's blood pressure. It's good for sore throats. And I will go through some of the remedies and the things that can be done if you are in an emergency with cayenne. Now, if a person passes out, having a stroke, heart attack, or anything like that, and the person goes unconscious, all you have to do is, before the medical people come, you can make sure that so long as their mouth can be opened, you put a half of a teaspoon of cayenne, if you can get it under the tongue, and that will help to alleviate open back the airwaves and the blocked arteries so that the person can be revived until medical help comes. I've known of a young lady, she said that she suffered strokes before, and one day she felt one coming on, but her cousin, who was a nurse, was there. And this lady got some cayenne pepper and gave her the cayenne to drink. She made a quick little tea with the cayenne and gave her to drink. And by the time she arrived at the hospital, the doctors were arguing that she did not have a stroke because everything had been cleared up. But she knew what she would have experienced before, because she had suffered 2 strokes previously. And because of that, she was able to go to the hospital, and the doctors did not even find anything wrong with her at the time. So cayenne does work, and it can work if a person passes out, gets unconscious. If you're suffering from sore throat, you can mix cayenne with water. You can mix cayenne. If you have toothache, you mix it with some crushed garlic, and that helps in the toothache. With wounds, and I know some people might get squirmish, get squeezy because of this, but I'm going to give you personal 2 experiences that I would have had as far as wounds are concerned, and I'm talking about open wounds. My husband one evening came home with his whole stomach bloodied, his shirt full of blood, and I was thinking that maybe he was attacked by some dog or something like that. But when he told me what happened, it was that a cutlass had dropped from the top of a coconut tree, and those of you who know how high coconut trees can be, and it hit in the top of his head. And he was bleeding profusely, and the place was, his whole body and clothes were full of blood. I told him, don't come into the house. And I stood on the patio, and I went for the cayenne. I did not even clean the wound. I just went for the cayenne, took the cayenne pepper, and packed it into the hole in the top of his head. That arrested the bleeding. It stopped the bleeding, well, because of the cut and the hair around the head, I could not put plaster or anything. I did not even shave it. But by the next day, that cut had closed up. And right now, if we try to find that cut, we cannot find it because cayenne also do not leave scars when you use cayenne pepper. Yes, he would have marched after the incident with the cayenne because it would have stung and it would have burned, but it did not last too long, and that cut was healed. Another incident that took place was one afternoon around 5 o'clock. He closing the truck door, something stuck between the door, and it caused the door to fly back and hit him just over his right eye. And the puncture was so deep that you could see all the inside white and the stuff on the inside of his eye. I'm sure it would have taken about 7 stitches. But when he came into the house, I went to the kitchen first thing, got the cayenne pepper, then I got some gauze, and when I put the cayenne, because it cut over his eyebrow, and because his hair is long over the eyebrow, he told me, but I am not feeling the cayenne. I said, that's all right. So I told him, you put your hand one side and pull. And I took my other hand and pulled one side, and I could see deep. It was a deep gash, maybe about ½ inch deep. And I knew it would have taken stitches, but I knew the power of cayenne. So I opened it, and I packed it with cayenne. And then I pushed it back together and put some gauze over it and a piece of plaster to hold it in place. That was about 5 in the afternoon. Now, next morning, he's up and he has the plaster off because he does not want to go to work, and anybody, because he deals with the public, not wanting anybody to see that cut over his eye, he decided to take off the gauze. But I told him there was still, you could still see traces of the cayenne on the hair on his eyebrow. I told him, well, don't pull it off. At least leave that and let it stay. Well, he went to work, and by the evening he came home. My dear husband had all that cayenne pulled off his eye. And the amazing thing is that the cayenne, this cut was closed together, and it was healing nicely. Before a week was out, you had to look good. If you look at him now, you would have to search to find where he had that cut over his eye. And I can testify that that cayenne does work. It also works as for your eyes, to brighten your eyes, and when you have cloudiness in your eyes, to help clear the eyes. Dr. Mammon Wilson, who is a natural practitioner, he talks about doing cayenne in an eye salve, or you can make it an eye wash by soaking the cayenne overnight and straining it and then dropping a few drops in the eye. Well, the evening that my husband had the cut over his eye, when I was throwing the cayenne in the cut, some went into his eye. And he said, "You're blinding me, you're blinding me, I'm blind," because the effect of the cayenne burning in his eye. But after about 10 minutes, he came back to me. He said, "Vonda, I am seeing better out of this right eye than the left." I said, "Well, all you have to do is let me put some in the left eye." But he said, no, you leave it. But he could testify that he saw better. So after that, we started as a family to use cayenne fairly regularly as an eye wash to keep our eyes clear, especially when they start to get cloudy and so. So that is, for sure, testimony that cayenne works. And I've had incidences where I myself have gotten cuts because I cook, and I'm always in the kitchen, and sometimes you get those accidents. But whenever there's a cut, cayenne pepper to the rescue. Yes, you're going to endure a little sting, but it works. Cayenne also works for poor circulation. Many people suffer with diabetes, poor circulation, and if you have diabetes, cayenne is also very helpful in using where you use it in a tea or a tincture. And there's, for poor circulation, especially in the legs, you can, if the person is getting problems, a lot of problems with the legs, it is best that you get the cayenne, you let the person lie down, get some oil. It can be coconut oil, any particular oil, olive oil, and you rub the legs with the oil. Then you get some paper towel, and you sprinkle the oil over the paper towel, and then sprinkle the cayenne over the paper towel. You wrap the foot with that paper towel, the paper towels that you would have sprinkled the oil and the cayenne on, and you wrap that over the foot that would have already been, you would have rubbed with oil. You wrap that over the person's foot, and then you take some plastic wrap, and you put it over the foot. And you make sure that the person is comfortable, not too tight, and you wrap it, and then the person will eventually get back heat and circulation in that foot. You don't do it on the bottom of the foot, but you do it along the legs, and that will bring back warmth and circulation to the foot as well. Also, if people suffer with cold feet, because some people suffer with numbness and cold feet. Well, we don't have winter here in Barbados, but some people still get cold feet. Anytime that you have cold feet, and even in cold countries, you can take the cayenne, sprinkle it in the bottom of the shoes, and that will give you heat and keep the body warm and keep body heat as well. You can also use cayenne for lockjaw. You can mix cayenne with lobelia, and you can use that for lockjaw. Because I remember an incident where having a fall, and then automatically the jaw started to feel like it was locked down. But cayenne to the rescue again, and that caused it to go away. Now, when you're using cayenne, because of the heat in the cayenne, you will find that it might be hot. Yes, it might be hot to the mouth. But when you start to use cayenne, cayenne does lots of things because it breaks down mucus, and it helps congestion, so that you will find that if you drink cayenne, or if you, well, most people use it in the foods as a spice in the food, but when you put that cayenne in there and you're eating, you can actually feel the effects on your sinus cavities, and it starts to break down mucus. Some people might get runny nose, some people might feel it in the ears, and the sinus, when it starts to break down the mucus, and you'll find that after a while, it helps very well with sinusitis and mucus in the body, because it helps the lymphatic system, and it helps the rhythm when you eat and digest, and it heats, by heating the body, the natural process of detoxification is streamlined, and it causes sweating as well, so that a natural detox process takes place when you use cayenne pepper. It is the capsaicin in the cayenne that makes it hot. But cayenne is filled with vitamins and nutrients because it has vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E. It also has beta-carotene, B complex, iron, potassium, calcium, and B complex. Cayenne is also very useful in aches and pains in the joints and the muscles, and can be applied topically. You just make a salve with the cayenne. You can use olive oil. You can use cocoa butter, but you mix a salve and you put the cayenne in it, and you can apply it then topically on joints, and it helps to prevent the pain, to ease blood pain. It is good, very good for a good dilator for the heart, and it helps to reduce blockages in arteries and veins. As I would have mentioned before, any person having heart attack or stroke, and you give them, it brings back life to the person because it helps to dilate the arteries. It's also useful for people that suffer with blood clotting problems because many people has to take blood clotting factors, but when you have blood thinners, but when you take cayenne is useful as a blood thinner. Before having to take the medical ones, you can use cayenne as a blood thinner, and it works. And because of the clotting that can cause, and the blocking of the arteries, that can cause strokes and heart attacks. But if you take cayenne regularly, it will prevent you getting that. It can help prevent that. It's also very good for fungal diseases and sicknesses as well, like cirrhosis and eczema. If you use cayenne, it will help those fungal infections as well. It protects the stomach. Many people might think, well, it is hot and it's going to destroy my stomach. But cayenne actually protects the stomach by killing harmful bacteria from forming, and it protects the cell lining of the stomach by causing the good blood to come into the stomach and inducing the stomach to secrete protective juices to prevent ulcers. And as I said, it stops bleeding in minutes, internally and externally. And it also prevents scar formation, so that when you use cayenne, you don't usually end up with scars. When you have to get a cut, and you have to take stitches, you always have a mark. But when you use cayenne, you hardly see a mark, and I can testify to that. It is also very good for seasickness, and it boosts the immune system. It is good for rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritic pains, and for shingles. And you can use it topically, as I said, making a salve and applying it for back pain, neuralgia, and nerve pain. Also for migraine headaches, you can use cayenne as well. And it is very good on mornings. You can use it as a detoxer to mix cayenne with some lemon and honey and drink that on mornings, and that will help stimulate peristaltic motion in the stomach, and it will help in the assimilation as well as elimination, so that those things that, as Sister Flo would have spoken about, eliminations will come out when you use some good cayenne. It also helps to produce saliva, because when you put that cayenne on your tongue, automatically the salivary gland start to work, and it helps, which is a key factor in digestion, saliva, and it helps not only in causing the production of saliva, but also it helps in maintaining your oral health. It also fights free radicals. So cayenne is very, very important, and it is one herb that we can get. Another thing that cayenne works for is for cramping, pain and cramps. And I can testify that I usually walk with cayenne, because sometimes you might be driving. I remember one incident where I was driving, and when I went to get out of the vehicle, I had such bad cramps in my legs. And I was able to get the cayenne, put it under my tongue for a few minutes, and within a few minutes, by the time I allowed the salivary glands to flow and swallow that, the cramp was gone. And I was able to get about my business as usual. So cayenne is very important in helping cramps. Many people can use it because I know that many people suffer from cramping. If they sit too long, stand too long, sometimes you're in the bed and you stretch and it's all over. But a little cayenne under the tongue, and it does wonders. So we have to thank God for the gift that He's given us, the natural things that are not expensive, and we can keep them and use them that God may be glorified, because He's given us the leaves and the fruits for our health and for our healing and restoration. Thank you.